it's also the glee with which they espouse those words. And it is a leap just from the epithet to the idea of hanging black people from trees.
Exactly.
And when you look at those old black and white photos and you see black men and women hanging, that kind of strange fruit hanging from these southern trees, and everyone stands around and they're pointing, and families are smiling. And it's not too far of a leap from that to this.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, joining us now is David Swerdlick, our friend, columnist from theroot.com and contributing editor to theroot.com as well. All right, David, you wrote a piece, oddly enough, at theroot.com, where you kind of applaud President David Boren, the former U.S. Senator, for expelling the two students who were involved in this video, but you're not crazy about the reasons given. Explain that.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm quite applauding him, but I'm saying, look, if President Boren at OU wants to expel these two guys for what everybody saw in that video, then I think he can go ahead and do that if he makes it completely clear to the campus community and really to the whole country that the reason he's doing it is because he considers what was sung in that, racist song to go to the point of being a threat. What I think most people would agree on, if they know the law and they follow civil liberties issues, is that you can't just expel someone or punish someone in this type of situation for singing lyrics that are racist or bigoted or using the N-word. That doesn't do it. He's got to say that those lyrics about hanging N-word from a tree goes to the point of being a threat. And I argue in that article, Steve, that essentially yeah, it's a close call, but you can't say with certainty that people on that campus now can't consider themselves threatened, and I think that's got to be clear.
Well, I'm not sticking up for what they said at all. I think they should have been punished. I don't think they should have been kicked out of the university, and I would hardly perceive that as a threat. If it's a threat, then you believe that they were going to do that? They were going to find a black person and hang him from a tree?
No, Steve, I actually specifically said in that article, that I don't think that that's what they were planning to go out and do that night. But here's the thing, right? I don't think the onus is necessarily on the members of the campus community. In this case, let's say specifically the young African-American members of the campus community to be the ones who have to judge and decide whether it's just sort of drunken frat boy fun or whether they should feel threatened by that, right? And so, I'm not saying this isn't arguable. This is the kind of thing this is the exact kind of case that goes to the Supreme Court, because there are different sides to this and different ways to look at it. But I do think that this could be a case that goes beyond merely just what people describe as hate speech, which you can't expel them for, and into the realm of people feeling threatened, and therefore it's something that is actionable by the president of the university.
All right, let me ask you a question. If somebody were to plant a camera in a black fraternity or black student groups on campus, you think they would find something similar ever?
I tend to think that the likelihood of planting that in a black fraternity per se wouldn't be what you'd be looking at. But to your question, I certainly would argue that if you were in a situation on a campus where a couple of black students, fraternity or not, were overheard saying, that they wanted to do harm to white students, or we gotta, I can't think of what a quote would be, then the same standard would have to apply. Certainly, look.
Well, yeah, doing harm, yes. But I mean, let's say 10 of them singing a song derogatory towards whites. Is what I'm saying. Because again, neither one of us.
It has to be a threat. What the key with this, and again, I acknowledge it's a close call. The key with that Oklahoma University SAE song was the lyric that said, "Hang an N-word from a tree." And then right. What do we consider that? If someone is just saying, "I don't like black people," or "I don't like people who are the N-word," or "I don't like whitey," or "I don't like crackers," that is not enough, I don't think, under our freedom of speech under the First Amendment for them to be punished in the way that these students were punished. And so I think that is where the debate is. And by the way, even if I kind of agree with you that maybe expulsion is a pretty severe punishment, to me the issue is really whether you can punish at all or not. The severity of the punishment, although I think it's an interesting discussion, Steve, is not the primary issue in my view.
Right. Should they keep that rapper, what's his name, guys in the control room, that rapper, yeah, Waka Waka Flocka Flame. Should they keep people like him off the campus with his racist, N-word lyrics and violent lyrics?
Well, again, Steve, I don't know all of Waka Flocka Flame's lyrics. I acknowledge that. But look, if you're talking about someone, whether it's a white person or a black person or someone else just using the N-word, I'm not a proponent of that. But at the same time, people have the First Amendment right to say that, sing that, rap
but they don't have a First Amendment. But David, they don't have a First Amendment right to appear on a college campus. The campus has to invite them. Someone has to invite them. Should the campus president now, in the wake of this?
It's not really a punishment. It's not really a punishment to rescind an invitation or say we're not going to invite you. Right? These frat guys are being punished with expulsion. And I think that if the president, David Bourne, wants to expel them, I think he's got an argument. The students have an argument too, but he's got an argument that he can expel them if it in fact is a threat. He can't just expel them.
No, wait, no, I'm not going back to that. I'm not going back to that. I'm not going back. All right, Ferguson.
Yeah.
Why is the media trying so hard? Why are the protest organizers trying so darn hard to say, oh, this guy, he wasn't a protester? Yes, he was, say the cops. In fact, he was there earlier that night, and he's been at other protests. I mean, enough already with this nonsense that the protesters are such lovely, peaceful people. It's just the guys who do the shooting and the looting and the burning. They're not the protesters. This is ridiculous.
Look, Steve, clearly, if this guy did what he's accused of, what he's arrested for, then he should be prosecuted and punished for it. There is no excuse, no matter what these circumstances however these circumstances have unfolded, for anyone to open fire on police or the crowd or anyone. If he did it, he should be prosecuted and punished. Period. That being said, I understand why the organizers of the protests and the majority of the protesters are saying, look, we don't want to be unfairly associated with this guy because we've been protesting peacefully for months. The fact that this guy may have showed up at 1 or 2 protests or 3 or 4 or 10 protests
David,
does not mean that
But they haven't been protesting peacefully. There's been places burned down not once but twice. There have been people injured, bottles thrown, gunshots fired. That's not peaceful. In New York, they chanted, kill the pigs, and then they did. 2 of them. You can't separate this. They've been protesting a false premise. Hands up, don't shoot, which is a lie. And when you protest on a lie, this is what happens. Got to go,
Yep.
David. We'll speak to you next week.
Each protest separately, Steve.
All right. Thank you. David Swerdlick. Panel's next.